this is my making journey. I am videotaping from Valpo, Chile. In this video, you are going to see a method that I came up with to make a sleep sack for Max. Max is going to be 2 years and 8 months in a few days, and it's very hot here in Chile. We're almost in summer. It'll be summer on the 21st. And our house is made of adobe, so it is especially warm at night because adobe sucks heat, or takes heat during the day and then pushes it inwards during the night. So our bedrooms are quite warm. So I needed to make Max a sleep sack that was comfortable and something that he would want to sleep in for that heat. He likes to have his feet to be able to move separately, his feet free, and also uncovered. Although many nights I'll go and put some socks on him. And so this regular sleep sack doesn't work for him. Apart from that, he runs hot, so it has to be something that has either removable arms or no arms, so that I can put something in the middle of the night when it starts getting colder. And it needs to be accessible because he still wears diapers, so especially during the night. So I need to be able to change him, and it needs to be somewhat easy to do. So I came up with my own version. Sleep sacks here in Chile, I mentioned this before, some things are harder to get down here, or there's not as much variation, so they're quite expensive, and a muslin sleep sack or a TOG, 1.5 sleep sack for a child runs like $50, which I think is a lot. So instead of that, I went out and got 2 different color fabrics of muslin, and I decided to make it myself. I thought, how hard could this be? And it was harder than I thought, but not hard enough that I couldn't make it. So the good thing is, now that Max has been sleeping in them for a couple weeks, he really likes them. He likes the color. At the beginning, he was very against one of them because he knew that it wasn't going right. That was prototype 1. And then I went to the blackboard and was able to finish prototype 2, which he really liked, and remake the first one. So now he's using both of them, and he's really happy with both, and he's not sweating, and he's comfortable, and in the morning he can walk around. So it worked out really well. So I don't have a pattern for you. I don't make patterns, but I did draft a pattern for this. So what you're gonna see in the video is the whole process, from figuring out what to do to drafting a pattern, because I want to keep it for later in case I want to make, a gift or something like that, to actually making it. And I think it turned out really well. So it's more a tutorial on how to do all these things rather than following exactly what I did, because your child might be younger or might be bigger or might want both feet in the sleep sack, in which case that is so easy. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. And then in most of my videos, I have right around the middle something about Valpo that I enjoy. This time, because it is something for Max, I decided to add something that he really enjoys, and those are the trolleys. So you're going to see his little trolley collection, and then art and trolleys of Valpo. Art of trolleys and trolleys of Valpo. So with no further ado, here's the tutorial.
All right, so this is what he actually uses right now. I bought this, we got it a week ago. It is now the beginning of spring, and the temperature is around 17 degrees Celsius at night, 15, 17, which is about, I guess, 58 to 62-ish Fahrenheit, if I remember correctly. And I really like it because it has these feet that Max sleeps barefoot. He doesn't like his feet covered. This actually has a way to cover the foot. You just turn this around like that, and it's really smart. I really like this. It has the zipper, and of course space at the top for his little arms. So this is a TOG, I think that's what it's called, TOG 1.5. But even with this, he runs hot. He's supposed to wear clothes underneath, but he actually doesn't. Just a shirt at the top with long sleeves. So that's what he's wearing. But they're super expensive, so I am going to make something in muslin. This is 1, and this is 0.5 TOG. This is the one he used last summer, and he really liked it because it had feet. He could put his feet out, as opposed to this one, which is 0.5, and it's made of muslin. and this one's like t-shirt material, and this one doesn't have feet, so he never used this one. If it did have feet, he could probably use this one right now, but he can't stand it. So this one doesn't fit, this one he can't stand, so what I'm going to make is something kind of in between. Hi everyone, so I originally skipped the step I'm going to show you now. I went from this. So in this part of the video, I was supposed to be showing you how to draft this pattern, but as you can see, it's impossible to tell what I'm doing because the camera is too far away and I couldn't figure out a better way to film this part. So what I am going to do is show you from the top on a scale how I drafted the pattern. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot easier than you trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing in this video, or in this part of the video. All right, guys, so what I am going to do now is show you on a small scale what I did in the video that I had filmed for you when I was trying to do the big sheets of the patterns. So basically, as you know, I have... I apologize for the presentation, but someone decided he was going to play with this, and I rescued it just on time. So as you know, I took the measurements of the sleep sacks that Max had been using up to about, I think it was October, September, I'm not quite sure. And I translated it into a paper, yeah, because that's what I was going to use for what I was going to design. So I put everything here, and this is my cheat sheet to make my pattern. Yeah, so basically what I did was I put all this in a big sheet of paper. I grabbed, I think it was 9 pieces of regular letter-sized printing paper, taped them together, and made a large rectangle that I knew would fit the longest length of this pattern that I was making for Max. The only thing that I did different, the original sleep sack was a muslin sleep sack that wasn't working for Max because it didn't have feet. So that was something I was going to have to figure out once I sort of reproduced the rest of it, which did work for him. And it wasn't easy, but I got it done. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is how I did this part. The first thing I did was fold it in half. I folded it in half so that I would have 2 different sides, a side for the front and a side for the back, knowing that I would have to fold the fabric in order to have a whole piece, right? And why do they have to be different? Because there's one front and one back, so they were going to differ here in the neckline, right? The front is going to be lower and the back is going to be taller. That's about the only difference that they have. So that's what I did. I folded it in half, and then what I did was I took the longest measurement, 84, and I made sure that I would have 84 in length in the papers that I put together. Yeah, that's going to be the longest length because that is the shoulder all the way to the bottom. I'm using these numbers as they are, but dividing the width, and that is because the length here is for the paper pattern is as long as it's going to be, but the width, sorry, I'm kicking one of Max's toys, but the width is only half because I am doing half the sleep sack, right? I'm doing this. So I'm dividing all the widths by half, but keeping the lengths as they are. So this paper is about 33 inches. I mean, at 33 centimeters, which is going to represent inches, all right? And so that would be from the very top to the very bottom. So the shoulder to the bottom, right? Then I did, the order of this doesn't really matter, but the length is important to make sure that all the pieces you taped actually are enough for that. Same goes for the widest width, which is 25 inches or 64 centimeters in the case of this sleep sack. 25 inches divided by 2 is 12 and a half. Let's see if I don't have enough, but let's pretend that I do. I have 11. So this would be the widest part, right? Then we continue with the other ones. All right, the back was 80 centimeters or 31 inches. 81 or 31 inches. So I'm taking this, now this measurement, I'm taking it from the bottom because it's the neck that is coming down and not here, right? So it's 31. So about here. And I already have, oh no, so about here all the way down. So that's how low the back of the neck is going to be. And this is how high it's going to be. And I just need to put that together. Now, what I need to know is how wide that neck is before I do that. So in order to know how wide the neck is, I need to divide it by half. So 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters. So 3 is about here. And this is the tallest point of 84 or 31 84 centimeters or 31 inches is the tallest point of the shoulder. And now I know that I can finish this line here. I like to make it more deep than not, but that would be the neck. I'm doing the back, right? I have this measurement, I already put it in there. I have this one, I have this one. Now I have this one. Now I need the chest and the arm side or the space for the arms, right? The chest is 15 inches or 38 centimeters divided by 2 is 7.5. So 7.5 around here. Around here is where the armpit is going to end. Yeah, about this height. Now the question is, how deep is it? I figured out why this was feeling off, and that is because I have to do this again. I divided it by 2, and it shouldn't have been because it's a vertical line. So this is 6 inches or 6 centimeters, 6 centimeters for the scaled example I'm giving you, but 6 inches in the big one, or 15 centimeters. So I have to bring that down 6, which would be right about here-ish, yeah? And then bring this up. Now that is more like it. That's why it looked funky. My instincts were right. This is why it's good to draw things first. Some people would just put the sleep sack on the fabric, but to me, this really helps me understand patterns. And when I make this again, it's easier for me to do it this way. So back piece, and this is going to be ×1. All right, so our longest, now we're thinking of the front, right? Our longest vertical line is 84 centimeters or 33 inches, which is, as we know, the length of this whole thing. So top to bottom. Now, in the widest, we know it's 25 inches or 64 centimeters, so 12.5, which is pretty much all of this, right? So for the next measurement, we have the front, the neck to the bottom, which is 75 centimeters or 29 inches. I am going to measure it from the bottom because on the bottom it's the same, but on the top it's a little bit different. So right about here, right? Is that correct? Yes, right about here-ish. Is that lower? Yes. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Now, I know that this is the lowest point of the neck, and I'm going to have to round it this way to meet the shoulder. In order to do that, in order to know where that shoulder is, I need to know the width of the neck, right? The width of the neck is 6 inches or 3 because we're doing it because it's a horizontal, or 15 centimeters. So we know that it's 3. We know here that it's 3. So to about here, and I can already bring that line that way. All right, now the next part would be this area. The chest is 15 inches or 38 centimeters, so that would be 7.5. 7.5, so about here-ish, right? And then we have to go in about 1.5 and come down 3 which is the equivalent of 3 inches or 7 centimeters, 6 inches or 15 centimeters. 6 down, and then 1.5. 6 down and 1.5 in, so about here. All right, that makes more sense. And then you just bring this line as wide as you want, all the way down. All right, so this is the front piece, and the front piece is gonna have ×2 because I need to make 2 pieces. One of the things that you're gonna have to decide is if you are including the seam allowance or not. You'll see that what I did was I sewed this with a bias binding, and I did not, because it's such a wide project, I didn't really include seam allowance, but maybe you're gonna be more conservative with your size and you're gonna need seam allowance. So make sure you think about that and write it down. Yeah, so no seam allowance. But here, you will see that in this case, I do need it because these are 2 pieces. This piece needs to be a little wider, right? And that is because I am going to put a zipper here and that needs to be folded. And by doing that, I make everything a little bit more narrow in the front. And if you fold in too much, it's gonna be significantly so. Hi, Baba! And it's gonna make it difficult for you to sew. So the only thing you would need to figure out at this point is how much to add here so that when you cut your fabric and you fold it to put the zipper, you cut enough more so that your front piece isn't too much smaller than your back piece, right? And because this is putting the zipper is gonna eat up some of your fabric. So all I did was write myself a note here, and I said add ½ inch or something like that. Honestly, I don't remember, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is what the 2 pieces look like. Now, how did I solve this part? Well, that was very easy. Sorry, I'm just checking that you can see what I'm doing. For this part, and I'll bring it here, all I did was... Ya mi vida. So for the foot, all I did was add a piece of tape. I added a piece of paper here and basically made a little rectangle come out of both sides of the sleep sack. And I did that so that I could fold it and put an elastic band inside. That was the best way that I could, that was the best option that I came up with to solve this issue. The other thing that I noticed once I had this made was that Max was going to, sorry, I keep standing up to make sure that I can see what I'm filming because I'm using my phone for this. As you can tell, I don't have the best technology, but it suffices. So when he stood, my worry was that this was going to sag, preventing him from being able to run or sit properly or do the activities that he does with his sleep sack on in the morning. So what I did was I simply brought this in. You'll see it in the video. I simply brought this in because I just don't remember how well you can see it, like that. And that made it so that we wouldn't have that problem. And once he has it on, this sort of flattens, but it doesn't sag enough that it will prevent him from walking. So then once you have these pieces, just cut them and go to your fabric. You're ready to start cutting and sewing. Before we continue, this is Mac's trolley collection, a trolley bag, 3 trolley magnets that he's been gifted, and a trolley made of wood that doesn't have turning wheels, but he plays with anyway.
Oh, don't move. Say bye-bye, trolley.
green only because it is the fabric that I like the least. This is a kind of a very light mossy green.
Here's the basic list of materials. Of course, add thread and any other notions.
So I'm going to start with this. There we go. And remember I did this, the pattern, the paper pattern that I made is to be cut on the fold. So that's what we're going to do. This is the original one I made, and I added front piece and on fold and all that. See? All right, so now comes the hard part, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I should probably put the zipper first, just like I would do with a pillow. And then use this whole piece as if it were just one, and take it from there and attach it to the other side. Basically what I did was just think of a harem pant and just drew a curved line, and now I am using my fabric scissors on paper for the first time in 10 years ever, and I'm just cutting that off to then put it on the fabric. So that's what it looks like. I'm hoping that when Max puts his little feet down, this won't sag and he won't touch the floor. So it's about 9 p.m. and I'm gonna do a little bit of sewing and then I'll be done for the day.
All right, so I ended up doing a double stitch. I just went once and then a second time. I could have done it with the double needle, but I didn't do it. And I did it with a yellow thread so it would look nice. I think it turned out pretty well. So now I am going to pin it all around and have it ready for Max to try on tomorrow.
Hi everyone, so next day here, it is Saturday afternoon. And last night I was able to do everything except for the neck, which you can see here. This was already, I obviously don't like that it's a little wavy. I don't know if you can see it better from there. It's a little wavy all around, and I wasn't sure if it was because this is don't mind that. I didn't know if this was because it was an elastic bias binding tape, or if it was because it was already like that. So for the second one, I'm definitely gonna iron it right on the border to see if that helps. And to avoid that here on the neck, I pulled it a little bit and I think that helped, but avoided pulling the actual fabric. So it looks pretty good. Now I am about to figure out the feet. So I did a zigzag and a straight line. And now the original idea is to fold it outwards a couple of times, like that, and create a space. Whoa, Bubba, you look amazing. Create a space for the elastic band and then try it on the little one who didn't want to try it on the other day. All right? Oh, you look great. You look great, baby. You look great. So that's the idea. I love you. Do you want to try this on later when I'm done?
No.
Ah, no. Okay, great. So we'll never know if it fits.
So this is the end result. I think it looks pretty good. I forgot to add the little tab there, so I might have to do it now, or after having finished everything. The only thing I don't like, as you can see, the bias binding is a little bit wavy. It was already wavy when I did the seams for the muslin, so I have a feeling that might have been part of it. When I was doing about 3/4 of the neck, I realized that if you pull on it a teeny bit, then it won't be as wavy. So I think with the second one that I make, that might make it a little better. Sorry, I know my filming has to be much better, but it's not my forte. For the feet, what I said I was gonna do worked. I still have to close it. I just put in the elastics and I tried to convince Max to wear it, but of course he was very adamant in saying no. So I don't even know if this fits, if how much I cut inwards here is enough for it not to sag. A ver? Does it feel okay? A ver? It looks like it's working. Oops. All right, okay. You're done? ¿Te lo vas a sacar? Yeah.
Hi everyone. So as you saw in the little piece where I was able to finally film Max, it was very difficult to get him to say yes to that. It's the middle part, which was my worry, sags, but it doesn't touch the floor, but it's pretty close. So I'm gonna bring this up a little bit by cutting it here and redoing the the pattern a little bit. New shortened pattern. So I'll do the same on the other side. So I made some notes of things that I need to do this time around. I want to add the zipper protection part. I have to be careful when closing the zipper on the bottom so it doesn't open. And then add a little bit of more fabric here because that's the part that I have to fold to put the zipper so that it doesn't create any wonkiness. So here we go. Depending on how this turns out, I will see if I fix the green one, which was the trial by fire, and it doesn't look that nice, but it's definitely wearable, which is the important part.
All right, so hi everyone. I'm working on number 2 here. I'm just doing the zipper basically tonight. It's past 8 p.m. and I'm extremely tired today. So this is about as far as I'm gonna go. But before I finish, I remembered that I wanted to put a little cover for the zipper, for this part of the zipper, right? Because this is gonna sit over here like that and I don't want that to bother Max. So where is it here? I grabbed, I'm just improvising this. I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out, but I grabbed a piece of fabric and I made a seam here. And so that when I turn it around, it has a similar shape to that of his little sleep sack that he's wearing right now. So I open this up and I need to figure out how to put this here like that and trap it between the zipper and the fabric like that. And then I guess turned around. I need to cut that, I need to clip that, turn around like that. And then once I have the bias binding started right there. I think that's what I'm gonna do. We'll see if it works. This is supposed to be like that. So I have to sandwich it here, like this, like this. I think we're going to check this, of course. So I have to put that there like that. And then this on this side, this is the front side. So this is going to come around the zipper, right? Sewing, it's just sometimes not very easy to like imagine. You have to do things backwards and so that they're right, so that they don't look wonky later. And for me, that's definitely been a struggle. Like right now, it's a struggle. All right, but no struggle, no progress, as we used to tell our students in high school. All right, so that's what it's going to look like, right? So I'm going to sew that here, and then to follow this, sorry. So I'm going to sew that right there to follow this line that I already had, and then I will clip and zigzag just like I did here. And I guess, or maybe not, maybe I'll do it after I turn it around. I don't know, I'm winging this, guys. So first thing we're gonna do is that line and we'll take it from there. All right, so I just clipped it and now this is what it looks like on the front. I'm going to go around like this and I'm going to sew it a second time all the way down to just settle down this fabric to pin it down. And that way this will be pinned here. Now the question is, what do I do with all this extra fabric? I think I'm just going to trim this, and then I'm going to zigzag this first part, and then I'll zigzag this other part to it. And then once everything is done, the last thing will be the bias binding, which will start right here. I think this is going to work. I'm pretty excited about it. Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Then I just need to hide this with the bias binding. So I think it looks all right. And on this side, I am going to cut it, and I will do another zigzag, a very small one right there. Let's do that now. All right, I feel like this is looking pretty good. I still need to zigzag the back, but I just did the second side. It came a little too close, a little bit hard. I have the phone right in front of me, so it's a little bit hard to see, but you know what? I feel like it's good enough. I think Max will approve.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday, past noon. I've already done all the cleanup today for the guests, so I am going to continue sewing. I think this turned out pretty good. Max actually says he likes this one, not the other one, although we can't take anything seriously because he changes, he's 2, so. So this is how it looks. I pinned it all around, and now I am going to sew. I just sewed the bottom to make sure the zipper part is fixed. For the green one, I actually did a zigzag here, and I don't think I'm gonna do that this time because I have a feeling that was part of the problem why it's all wavy. So I'm gonna skip that, and since there's bias tape, I might not, you know, it might not matter. So we'll see how that goes. And the other thing I want to make sure is that with the bias taping, I do it a little bit, I tense it a little bit so that it doesn't create that wave. So if it comes out as I am hoping that it'll come out, I am going to end up undoing the first prototype and completely redoing it again to make sure that Max likes it. And then it turns out the way that I would like, because otherwise I don't know why I'm making this tutorial. It should look nice. So here we go.
All right, so as you can see, the second time around, I pulled it ever so slightly. I'm talking about the bias binding, and it looks much better. I haven't ironed it, and we don't have all that waviness. There's some waviness here and there, but nothing like the first time. So I'm definitely gonna open up that green one and redo it. This is what this part looks like. I'm not sure it's gonna look that great. I don't know why it's looking like that, like so pulled. For some reason, muslin is the hardest fabric I've worked with so far, much harder than velvet and silk, at least for me. So I'm hoping this will look okay. Maybe I just need to cut this. Maybe I just need to cut this and bring all of this down. We'll see. So I'm going to continue with the legs before I do the top part because I'm going to have to redo the zipper. And I just wanted to show you what I did here. I folded this outwards a little bit and then a second time to create the casing for the elastic. I know that this worked in the green one, so I'm not going to try it on Max. I'm just going to do it. And I'm making sure it covers the end of the bias tape ever so slightly to give it a better finish. So this would be the bottom part. There's not much more to do here. And just to show you what it looks like, I did a double stitch. Doesn't look that great, but because it's going to have an elastic, it's going to be scrunched up and it won't be noticeable. But I did that because I didn't do the zigzag on this one to prevent fraying. It made it harder. This is to put in the elastic. It made it harder by zigzagging to be able to do this. I could have done it with a double needle, but I can't be bothered. So I'm just doing it this way, and I think it's going to look okay. All right, so here are both prototypes. This was the first one I made, and as you can see, I'm gonna have to redo this. And this one is, this is how far I've gotten with this one. The only thing I don't like, this turned out pretty good. I think pulling the bias binding a little bit was the way to go, but this doesn't look good. So I'm going to undo this and bring this down just a little bit. I don't know why I didn't save when I recorded what I did, but basically I opened it up, took off the protection piece, opened up the zipper, brought it down, cut the fabric, and then sewed it back up just like I did earlier in the video. To make it nicer. And then now that I know that it can look, sorry for the filming, I know I have to get better at this. Now that it can look as good as that, I'm gonna have to make this one smaller, and then I'm definitely not touching this except for the top part, but I'll get all that binding tape out and redo it so it looks better.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you didn't like the video, I hope you like the next one. If you did like the video, I would really appreciate you hitting the like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, you can subscribe to my channel. I have a couple other tutorials in knitting. I have a few knitting patterns. I'm adding my website below. I also have a couple of sewing patterns, just simple stuff, pillows for the house. I own a guest house, also linked below. Curtains, now the sleep sack, and some of my adventures sewing stuff for myself. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely end of your year and a great 2026. Ciao, ciao.